All right, moving forward here to something that Seth, we've talked about this before.
Yeah, vaguely.
But now it's coming more to fruition. Let's bring this card up here. It says, new Daredevil series coming to Disney Plus. And this comes to us from a Variety report. It says, a new Daredevil series is moving forward at Disney Plus, with Variety having exclusively learned from sources that Matt Corman and Chris Ord, is that how you say Ord?
I think it's Chris Ord, yeah.
All right. Are attached to write and executive produce. Rumors have persisted for some time that a Disney Plus series about the man without fears was in the works, especially considering that two of the stars of Netflix Daredevil series, Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, have appeared in recent Marvel projects. It now appears that the project is picking up steam with the hiring of Corman and Ord, although Marvel has yet to announce anything regarding the show formally. Okay.
All
right. So, new Daredevil series coming to Disney Plus. Hold on, before we dive in. I didn't raise a psychopath, Jimbo. He takes after his father. To take that to the bank. we're both psychopaths, man. You know this, Jim. So, new Daredevil series coming to Disney Plus. Theoretically, as they said, Variety, I'm pretty sure it will. Their inside source, but Marvel has yet to formally announce it. What do you think this is going to be? How do you think this is going to come to fruition? Is this going to be another variant? Is this what are the potentials and the possibilities of it being great or failing?
It's going to be a variant. It's not going to be the exact same Daredevil. And I think people just need to accept that that's the case here. Like, we're not going to get a continuation. Like, okay, in a Hollywood Reporter article regarding this exact same thing, they described it as a new but continued series. So that means that it's not the same version, but these versions have probably gone through very similar circumstances as the Netflix version, which then gets to the point, why even make it different? Who knows? Who cares? They're going to act the same. They're going to be probably written the same. And I'm assuming Bullseye is going to be the villain of this season.
But why? This is where I'm going to have a major disdain for the multiverse. This is where the multiverse is going to prove to me, yes, we opened the multiverse because convenience. I don't. What if they recast Foggy? Is that okay with you? Are you fine with that? Like, if they just?
I'd rather them not. But
right, but why not?
Because I like that guy who plays him.
Okay, but anybody could play that guy, but you like that character, right? Like that you watched 3 seasons of this character develop, and now you're going to be introduced to this character who is not the same fucking guy that you watched the other 3 seasons. Like that's the part that bothers me. Or they can retcon other things, that they cherry pick what they'd like and didn't like from the TV series. I don't like this. I do not, if it is a variant, we don't know. It could be a straight continuation. But Charlie Cox himself has come out and said that this will not be the same.
Yeah.
This will not be the same Murdoch. So, like, with that, he could either mean physically it's just not the same person, or he's going through something that we haven't seen, on camera, and he's just not the same. He's not in the same place we left him at. He could also mean that. But to me, if you go into the multiverse realm, it's 100%. I just consider it lazy. I consider it fucking lazy. That's my thoughts.
The first thing I want to say about this show coming is a lot of people's big concern is like, well, Disney's not going to make it as dark and gritty as Netflix did. Who cares? Daredevil is not an R-rated character. Netflix made him an R-rated character. The comic books did not. They can easily do Daredevil in PG-13. He is a
the comic books were pretty dark. I mean, look at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that were based off of Daredevil. They were they were very dark comics because they were strictly following the Daredevil, motif.
I mean, like gore wise, like in terms of the amount of gore that the Daredevil show had, that's not needed for Daredevil. Like this show does not need to be TV MA. This can easily work TV 14 or PG 13 or whatever.
I agree with you, but I think it would be lazy to change the have it be a variant of Daredevil just to have that be the reason why it's not mature. I mean,
Well,
I think you can continue the series and just have it be slightly lighter and nobody would say anything.
I think it's like, well, maybe, I mean, obviously Kevin Feige, the man in charge, all hail Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige maybe wants to do his own thing.
You throwing shade?
I don't know. I'm starting to think about the idea of like, oh, whatever Kevin Feige wants. It's just like, it comes up in every single Marvel conversation. It's starting to weird me out a little bit. But like, Kevin Feige probably wants to do his own thing with Daredevil.
Then they get a new Daredevil.
He
can do whatever they did. They did it with Spider-Man.
Andrew Garfield was fired. Charlie Cox was not fired. Charlie Cox is perfect for the role, and Vincent D'Onofrio is also perfect for the role. Especially with them wanting. Kevin Feige had no involvement with the Netflix shows, so it's not like he got to do what he wanted to do with the character in the shows. He didn't. He probably doesn't want to only spin off of somebody else's idea. He probably wants to. He's probably like, there's some good ideas in there, but I also kind of want to do my own thing with this character in a different franchise. Because even if they were canon at one point, the Marvel Netflix shows are not canon anymore. And tonally, they're nothing alike. So bringing in those characters would be odd for both fandoms. Like whether you're a fan of Marvel Netflix or MCU or both, it would be very kind of jarring to see that happen. Because like, I don't know. I completely understand people's problem with it, but I don't really care. Like, it sounds like they're pretty much going to be continuing the story anyway. So yeah, I don't really care.
I just don't like the fact that they can just cherry pick whatever they want and retcon whatever they want. Like, to me, what this says to me is, hey, we want to bring this character into our MCU, but we also want to bank off of the fact that everybody loves this version of this character. So we're going to bring this character in just by looks, slightly neuter him a little bit to bring him down to our level, and then cherry pick whatever we want. But don't worry, you're going to get the same Daredevil face. But I feel trolled. Like it feels like a trolling sort of mentality of, like, you get to see your character continue, but it's not the same character. It just doesn't work for me.
It's not them just banking on it. It's not like the only reason they're getting Charlie Cox is because, we'll make more money doing that. It's because he's perfect for the role. like that's why they're doing it. And also, could you imagine the fan response if they recast Daredevil?
It'd probably be the same with the recast Foggy. To be honest with you,
I doubt it. I mean, I'm sure there'd obviously be a lot of people upset if they recast Foggy, but I think a majority of people would be like, "Oh, they recast Foggy? That's stupid." But I mean, at least we got Charlie Cox as Daredevil, because he. Honestly,
thanks Disney for throwing us a bone. Can I please have some more?
I haven't talked about it much, but Charlie Cox is one of my favorite comic book castings that we've ever gotten.
He's great.
And
he's fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I personally don't have much of a problem with it, but I completely understand why people do.
Right. And my problem is not bringing him back into the MCU. My problem is just making it a different version. Like that's not what I want the multiverse for.
I mean, the thing is, they would be doing this even if the multiverse hadn't been introduced yet. This has nothing to do with the multiverse being introduced. This is what they would have done anyway.
I can't say one way or another on that. Jimbo says, I don't think they're looking to get a new Daredevil or completely finger snap away the other 3 seasons, or Charlie Cox wouldn't have been in Spider-Man and Vincent wouldn't have been in Hawkeye. Right. Yeah, I get it. But they only brought those characters into that movie and that show just to let you know that, hey, these versions of these characters still exist. They exist in this universe, but they might not be the same character. That's the part that gets me. Like, you know what? To me, how about this? If you're going to do that, if you're going to make this version of Daredevil, a different variant, he has a slightly different story, kind of the same, it's slightly different, then also continue the other one, as your multiverse version. I don't know. Like, I think that'd be a great opportunity to, if you want to dive into multiverse stuff, but people loved that for what it was. And now you're going to take what they loved and it's seemingly just water it down. And that's the part that I have a problem with. And again, mostly just them cherry picking and saying, oh, we like this, but we don't like that. So, like in this universe, that didn't happen, or it happened this way instead. That's the problem I have. It's just the convenience, lazy way of doing it. That's just me. Obviously, I stand alone, at least in this room. But
I'll tell you when I'll get concerned fully with this is when they announce it and they go experience the 6-part limited series. That's my biggest fear with this, is that they're like, experience the 6-episode event. Like, oh no. Give me 9 episodes at least. She-Hulk is getting 9 episodes.
I think they're going that route. Well, She-Hulk's only like half an hour too, so
it's true. But I think they know though that like they can't mess this up. Like, they can't mess up Daredevil. They know how passionate that fan base is, and they know how long people have been waiting for this actor to come back, whether it's the same version or not.
Yeah,
they know how much they wanted this to happen. So if they mess this up, they'll never be forgiven by the hardcore Daredevil fans. And it's like bringing back Toby and Andrew, specifically Toby. It's like, you can't mess it up. If you mess it up, you'll never be forgiven. So you have to do it right. Yeah. And they did. In my opinion, they did Toby right.
Because they brought back the actual characters. Like the characters we saw were the characters that we grew with. That's a big difference there, Seth. Yeah, I get what you're saying, but that right there is I don't know why I keep holding that pen. Fuck this pen. They're like Bob Dole, but that's a reference you won't understand, Seth. But but that's the big difference. Is those are the characters that they brought. Now, what if they did that in No Way Home? What if they brought in Andrew and Toby, but they weren't the same ones? How do you think that would have went over?
Listen, I don't know.
Whoa! I was listening. Did I rock your world with that question?
No, I get it. No, I get it. But I'm just in my head. It makes more sense. I don't know. I don't know.
Right, but you get my point. It would have watered down those characters. It would have made them being put into that movie a little, would have left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth. Jimbo, in the comic, excuse me, in the comics, weren't Moon Knight and Daredevil part of a team that wasn't the Avengers? I can't think of the name.
Yeah,
that's not that's not the team that he was in on Netflix, was it?
No, that's the Defenders.
The Defenders, yeah.
There's like this slight misconception with this team called the Midnight Suns. People put like, oh, Daredevil, Ghost Rider, Moon Knight, Blade are all in this team. I don't think they are. Like, some of them are, but like, what's funny is the most popular image of the Midnight Suns team, which has most of those characters that I just listed in it. People are like, oh, here's your Midnight Suns lineup. That lineup from the most popular image I've seen was from a canceled comic that doesn't exist.
Oh, okay.
So like technically I don't know exactly how the Midnight Suns are, but I'm pretty sure that's the team that Jim is referring to.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so they'll probably do a Midnight Suns thing at some point. I know Doctor Strange is involved with that, so maybe that's his next step. Who knows though?
All right, well, there you go. Daredevil series coming to Disney Plus. Mum is the word of whether or not it will actually exist as a continuation or a soft reboot. You kind of know the characters. We're not going to dive into it, but we can cherry pick and retcon whatever we want. Some people don't care, and I get it, but to me, like, I don't know. It just seems like a cheat.
Yeah,
it just seems like a cheat.
You know, I want to throw this out there though, and maybe people will still roll their eyes at this, but it's just the way I think of it. Is like, even if this show is bad, you still have 3 seasons of another Daredevil show, which are all great. You know,
Yeah.
Like the worst one is still like a 9 out of 10 to me. So
Yeah,
like,
and it's a finite story. Like it ending where it ended.
Yeah.
Well, except for the bullseye.
They have a little tease afterwards, but like if you cut off that tease, the show could have been over. Like,
yeah,
I understand people were upset, and it's a show that could have a season 4. You know, it's not like, oh, it's ended, don't do anymore. But it's like, you know, since this is the ending, it's a good ending. Like he beat Fisk. You know, I don't know. I like that ending a lot.
Right. Yeah. I'll tell you what, Seth. If they make this season 5 or season 4, I mean, and they bring down the tone, you know, and they don't make it as violent, but you know, Disney Plus is starting to push those boundaries a little bit, and I think, like, you know me, like, even though I like that hardcore stuff, I think it can easily fall into a PG-13 realm as opposed to a rated mature thing. Yeah. But they make a season 4 and they just kind of water it down a little bit. I'm okay with that, as long as what I grew with how these characters grew in my world, as long as that's still intact. That's the part that really bugs me. That's my emotional investment gone if they start tearing that down and breaking it apart and cherry picking from it. That's the part I care about.
I think it's gonna seem seamless.
Yeah.
In my mind, like, we'll see. Technically, the show is not even announced, so
right. But I'm sure Variety being a very reliable source, right under Film Trigger. Variety is reliable.
Exactly.
Jimbo says that's gonna be the cover up to make it brand new. Feige is just gonna say, well, I guess Bullseye never made it out of the hospital. Here's a news story.
No, I feel like Bullseye will be the villain. I think, because obviously, you know, he was a big part of season 3, but he never was technically Bullseye in that. Like, he never got the name Bullseye. Right. So I think, I'll say this. I'm excited to see the Daredevil suit, whatever it is, because they're not going to stick with the one that they had. So he'll probably get a new suit in this show, and I'm excited to see what that looks like, because I really like the Phase 4 suits that they've given us so far.
Okay. All right.
You're in the minority if you don't like them.
I'm not like, when you say Phase 4 suits, like, whose suits are you talking about exactly?
Doctor Strange, Captain America, Wanda.
See, Captain America was the one. Captain America was the one I was thinking about. I absolutely hate that suit. We're talking about the new one, like with what's his name?
Sam Wilson.
Sam Wilson.
Falcon.
Like, thank you. Falcon was the word I was looking for. With Falcon playing, I'm like, I don't like costumes who choose aesthetic over functionality, and I cannot fathom, for the life of me, besides the fact it's just how it looked in the comic books, why he has that white headband going around. It's like a mask, but not the head. I think it looks dumb. It doesn't look good. It looked like a TV show version of it when we saw the TV series. I wasn't a big fan of it. But moving forward, I digress.